It's been a long night if you've been watching the elections in the United States or the United Kingdom. It's been a long day if you've been following the elections from India, as we have been. And even then, there is no clear winner. In fact, the election won't be declared, it seems, for the next few days, and a legal battle is set to begin. Now, before I dwell into all the aspects of what happened and what is going to happen next, it's important to understand that the president of the United States is not just the president of the country. While a lot of people, they may say that it's not our monkey, it's not our circus. Why are we so concerned about the entire electoral process of the United States? The truth remains that everyone looks forward to the president of the United States due to the geopolitical realities of the contemporary world. China is rising, so this election will also decide in a manner the leader of the free world, and that leader will be critical in partnerships across the globe when it comes to tackling China in South China Sea, in the Indo-Pacific region, and so forth. Now, what happened in the elections? We'll go into all the aspects one by one. To begin with, Trump is not going down without a fight. It was projected that the Trump campaign will not last even for 4 to 6 hours once the counting begins. But Trump is not going down without a fight. The states which traditionally vote red, they have become far more red. The states that lean toward the red have stuck to the red. They have claimed their loyalty for Donald Trump. The swing states have also inclined towards Donald Trump, and this is where I'll come later. But right now, Donald Trump is not going down without a fight. So when it comes to the second aspect, the pollsters got it wrong again. Now, of course, most pollsters said that Joe Biden will win the US election. It's still not clear who's going to win the US election. But the way they projected Joe Biden to win with a percentage point lead of 7 to 8 when it comes to the popular vote. When we last checked, the popular vote lead of Joe Biden was around 2. It was hovering about the 2 mark. So it wasn't anywhere close to 7 or 8 as many had projected, as the likes of 538.com. All of them had projected. It's nothing like that. So the pollsters have perhaps got it wrong again. They have again read the narrative wrong. And I was watching Fox News this morning, and a couple of anchors were actually talking about the credibility of the media and how they got it wrong. And this brings us to the aspect of the silent majority. Now, in the United States, people have often discussed that how they are harassed at work, how they are looked down upon if they discuss their support for Donald Trump. And perhaps this anger, this behavior from the liberal channel, from the liberal groups, it warranted the existence of silent majority this time. A lot of people, they not even just lied to the pollsters, they remained quiet about their support for Donald Trump. And when the day came, as it came, this silent majority very silently cut through all Joe Biden's aspirations and those of the pollsters. They are now making a very strong case for Donald J. Trump to return to the White House. Also, the kind of voting we've witnessed, the kind of popular vote share we've witnessed, somehow it seems that America was not voting on the basis of pandemic alone, because Joe Biden criticized Donald J. Trump heavily when it came to the handling of the coronavirus. In fact, Donald Trump was himself diagnosed with coronavirus. But it doesn't seem to be a reflection of the handling of the pandemic. I think in the Republican states, the Black Lives Matter protests have been on people's mind. The economy has been on people's mind. But also, it's also a validation for the trade wars, because remember, Joe Biden spoke about how Donald Trump's trade wars against China had dented the American middle class in some Republican states as well. But it seems that the vote by the Republican supporters, at least in the red stronghold, it's been a validation for Donald J. Trump. It's been a validation for his very irrational in some places and very unpredictable foreign policy. It's also been a validation that the media does not understand Donald J. Trump. It does not understand America. It's been a validation for that fact. Now, what happened very recently? Joe Biden had a press conference. He said, we are winning, and he can sense a victory. He can sense a tenure at the White House. Donald J. Trump came out with a very interesting press conference where he said that he was about to go out and celebrate something big, but this entire legal complication which is about to start about the counting of ballots in various swing states, the battleground states, that just prevented him from a celebration. And more interestingly, Trump claimed these states. Now, at the time of me talking in this video, Trump has a lead in Georgia, in North Carolina, and even in Pennsylvania, so in Michigan and Wisconsin. Trump is claiming to win all these states. Interestingly, Biden campaign thinks they can cover up in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, and in Wisconsin. So no sides is willing to concede the election as of now. The Biden campaign thinks that as the mail ballots are counted, as the counting goes on further in Michigan and Wisconsin, they have a very good chance of making a dent into Donald J. Trump's aspirations. Donald J. Trump thinks that the lead is significant enough, which in some places it is, for Biden to stage a comeback. But that doesn't, it's not where the election actually stops. What is going to happen now? Now, Donald Trump has already voiced his concerns against the counting of the ballots post the election day. He spoke about it earlier also. And this will be critical in states like Pennsylvania, even though Donald Trump has a lead, because there's all this question about voting fraud and how the ballots will be counted, and if all the ballots will be counted equally, which is against the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. So all these questions are coming to play. But what has Donald J. Trump said? He said he's going to the United States Supreme Court. Now, has that ever happened before? Yes, it has. It happened in 2000 when the United States Supreme Court had to step in to decide an election between George Bush and Al Gore, the Vice President Al Gore at that point. Now, what happened really was that both George Bush and Al Gore finished short of 270 electoral seats they wanted to win, and the one state that was left in contention was Florida. Now, Florida, with its electoral seats and everything, it had enough electoral seats to get the winner a lead against the other candidate. It enabled the candidate who could take Florida to have more than 270 electoral seats. But the vote margin was too narrow, which demanded Al Gore to have a recount. While there was expected that Al Gore would win the state comfortably, when it came down to the counting, George Bush led the count by only 0.01%. That's how narrow the margin was. So there was always the question of recounting the ballots in specific counties. Al Gore wanted some ballots to be recounted, and even the Florida Supreme Court gave its permission to do so. But eventually, 37 days later, after November 7, that is when the United States went to polls, the United States Supreme Court stepped in after George Bush's campaign filed a suit and gave the election to George W. Bush. And that was perhaps the first time, or the first time in 100 years, when a candidate lost the popular vote but won the Electoral College, when the United States Supreme Court stepped in. Now, it stepped in and it gave a 5-4 majority to George Bush's campaign. And that was very important because at that time, the Supreme Court had a conservative majority. And it's often said that all Al Gore lost was by one vote, that in the Supreme Court. Now, a similar game is about to play out with the 2020 elections too, as it's already being speculated. As we also discussed in our yesterday's video, where I said that both the candidates may not be in a mood to concede the election. Now, if this election goes to the United States Supreme Court, Donald Trump has good chances because there's already a conservative majority of 6-3 with the election of the new justice very recently. So Donald Trump would be looking at his chances and would be smiling, because if this gets into a legal hurdle, into a long, complicated legal hurdle, not only we'll have misinformation wars, we'll have a lot of narratives being built upon either side stealing the election. It could also get messy. But eventually, as it happened in 2000, in 2020 also, the Supreme Court may have to step in, set the election result for one side, and the United States, of course, there will be a lot of backlash from the left, as a lot of people are also prepared for, given how many cities people are boarding up their luxury spaces, their shops, their boutiques, and so on. We discussed this in yesterday's video. There's going to be a left backlash. In fact, some people were predicting a civil war for tonight, a short civil war for tonight. That is how much the speculations were there. Fortunately, none of it happened. But of course, once the Supreme Court of the United States decides the election, the people will have to accept it, as they did in 2000. And life will move on for the United States and its people. But today, we do not have a clear candidate. We do not have a winner of the United States election. And this doesn't end well for Biden also, who was hoping for a landslide victory. And it doesn't end well for Donald J. Trump also, who was looking to celebrate an early victory, even though he denied doing so. But given the entire legal complications around it, given the history of how such feuds have played out, how such legal feuds have played out, Donald Trump might just be smiling unless he really loses one of the swing states, say Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. For now, the election hangs in the balance, but at this point, it looks like Donald Trump may just have the edge. But then, never say never because it's year 2020. Thank you.